The piece of gear that we're revisiting today is my most favorite piece of gear that I own. It's a workhorse, it's versatile, and it's an easy recommendation for anybody looking to up their audio game in a creative field. Today we're talking about the Zoom H6 and why this piece of gear is a must-have for every creator. Before we get into that, hey everybody, my name's Tom. And welcome to the channel. If you aren't already, consider subscribing and ringing that notification bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. Now, let's get back to the H6. So I've been using the H6 for the better part of 4 years, and I can easily say that it's my favorite piece of gear. Besides its small footprint, this little audio interface, handy recorder, packs quite the punch when it comes to audio. So before I really started taking YouTube and video creation seriously, I actually had my own podcast. So I used the H6 as a little portable podcast studio. Out of the box, the H6 has 4 XLR ins, each with their own gain knob going from 0 to 10, and a dB pad that will give you negative 20 dB if necessary. Each input also has its own record ready, and if you're using this unit as its own portable studio, there's obviously stop, pause, play, rewind, and fast forward. And probably the most important button on the front of the H6, record. You don't want to not press that one when you're trying to record. Pro tip. On the left-hand side of the H6, there's an SD card slot as well as headphone jack with its own volume and our hold for power. On the right-hand side, there's a menu button. To the right of that, there's a toggle button that will move up and down, and you're also able to press it. That's how you're going to navigate the menus. You can also see the DC 5 volt and USB in. This is what you're going to plug into your computer if you decide to use this little guy as an audio interface. On the bottom of the unit is a line out and a remote. The remote is actually sold separately in its own little accessory package that looks like this. In the accessory package, it comes with the remote as well as a windsock and a charging brick. I don't recommend buying this. Back to the H6. The back of the H6 has a mounting screw as well as a battery cover. There you can see it takes 4 AA batteries. But let's talk a little bit more in depth about the top of the unit. This is probably the most distinguishing part about the H6. It has its own interchangeable mic system that allows you to use different mic setups for different situations. I'll be able to show you a couple of them, but let's just go over what's on the back of the box. If 2 XLR ins is not enough for you, do not worry. There's a capsule for that. The XLR TRS combo capsule will give you 2 extra XLR ins, also each with their own gain knob. You're also able to buy a shotgun microphone capsule. And back when I bought my H6, it actually came with the XY capsule and the mid-side capsule. So all you do is make sure that both protective coverings are off. You hold the side buttons, slide it right in.
That's what she said.
And your mic's good to go. Because these capsules aren't actually their own XLR, what they're going to run through is the left and right stereo buttons. But once you press those buttons, you're then able to control the gain of the microphone via the top knob. It's as easy as that. Another super nice feature that shouldn't be overlooked is actually the H6 display. It's a full color display and is about 1.5 by 2 inches. Each input has its own digital monitoring, and from here and the menus, you're able to add compressor, limiter, and a ton of other stuff. You're also able to assign phantom power to each individual channel if necessary. Let's take a moment, plug my H6 into the computer, and I'll give you guys some audio samples of what you can expect with the H6. So the way we're going to record some audio is by using the H6 as an interface. So as I mentioned earlier, what you have to do is plug in the H6 with the USB to your computer. Once that's plugged in, all you have to do is power it on. Then you'll get to a menu asking you how to use the H6. We're going to be using it as an audio interface. A stereo mix, using the PC as our power. I'm currently running an XLR in into channel 1, so when I turn up our gain, you can see now that my voice is monitored on screen. So the program we're using to showcase this audio is actually Final Cut Pro 10. So what we're going to do is go into Final Cut Pro, open Window, Record Voiceover, and you're going to see this little window pop on the side. Now, I'm currently using System Settings, which means that it's using the internal microphone of my computer. I'll give you an idea of what that sounds like by hitting Record. And this is what it would sound like with just using the internal microphones of a computer. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that it's not good. So now what we're going to do is go over to System Settings, and you can see our H6 has already shown up. We're going to pick stereo channels 1 and 2 of the H6. We're going to put our input gain up to 0. And then we can test our input on our zoom until we have a decent looking level. Okay, typically I would do this with headphones on, but here we are. I also highly recommend using a pop filter. I don't have one right now, so you guys might hear some hard P's and S's and a bunch of other things. But here we go, let's hit record. And this is what the H6 sounds like going through my computer as an audio interface for a voiceover for Final Cut Pro. I'm pretty happy with it. Not to mention, Final Cut Pro offers a lot of other plugins that you can use to have noise removal, which would sound like this. There, I always felt like your voice sounds a little bit more round, and if you have, say, or you forget a fan running in the background or something, it kind of removes that undertone of background noise. I like it. Now, I'd love to show you guys some other microphones, so let's do that. Let's test the XY capsule. And this is the mid-side mic capsule. So I installed it. It's currently set for 6, still about 8 to 10 inches away from my face. I never really liked this mic either, but, you know, it's because this wouldn't be like a voiceover mic for me. This is a very good interview mic if you were on the run. I've seen people use them for weddings, for capturing vows and interviews. They're great. It's nice because it's a run and gun microphone. Highly recommended. But I don't use it. That's a stupid thing to say. So before I wrapped up, I wanted to talk a little bit about price. So if you go to Amazon, you can currently buy 2 different model types of the H6. The pre-2020 model is actually the gray one. That's the one that I showcased in my video today. And the 2020 version is an all-black model. It's the same model, different color plastic. But that's going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you enjoy tech old and new, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. And while you're at it, I'd appreciate you watching another one. Thanks so much. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Oh my God, I had my deity turned around that entire time. God, I hope that sounds good. Peace.